Hey, everybody, before we get started, we would love to hear any questions you have for the pod. So please leave them in the YouTube comment section for each episode or email us at thelonelyislandpod@gmail.com. Any questions you might want to ask about the digital shorts or just Yorma's comings and goings. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast. This is really thrilling. Can I explain? Do you guys know why it's all thrilling?
Why, Seth?
I know why.
Oh, I have a guess.
We're actually recording this a week before people will hear it, as opposed to the way we've been doing this, which is recording it 18 months before people hear it.
Yeah, we caught up.
So now, for the first time, the sort of cherished topical comedy of the Lonely Island is going to find its way into the pod.
Yep.
Here we go, Kamala!
There we go. See, that would have been nonsense. Been nonsense. We would have done that.
No, it makes the most sense.
And look, I want to say something. One of the reasons we've taken a giant pause and thankfully not run out of episodes, although shout out to Yorma and Forte and Solomon, who did us a huge solid with the MacGruber episode.
Thank you.
How'd it go, Yorm?
Oh, it was terrible. Everybody hated it. I assume. I haven't gotten the results back, but I have to assume.
The results.
A predictive
We
review.
do get a printout of results after each of our podcasts come out. But one of the reasons we've been on pause, Andy's been overseas working on a movie.
Foggy London town.
That's what they call it.
How is foggy? Is it as foggy as they lead you to believe in the ads?
Well, Seth Lee, in the summertime, it was less foggy than I was expecting and frankly hoping for.
Yeah.
One thing I learned, Brits do not love it when you refer to it as Foggy London town.
That's weird. Well, it's funny. I don't even know why you would even need to refer to it once you're there.
Well, I disagree.
Because I would say that I say New York City the least maybe when I'm physically in New York City.
But when you're in New York City, you're always like, here we are at the Big Apple.
Like the Big Apple.
Yeah.
But again, I'm
Windy
not
Apple.
I'm not going to claim that I minted it. I feel like somebody else got there first.
I'll just say this. I remember me, Keeve, and Yorm calling it the Big Apple a lot when we lived there.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to walk down the street with your friend and point out the Empire State Building and go, look, the Empire State Building. Really excited.
Yeah.
I want to say something. Don't take this the wrong way. No one was sad to see any of you go. The
Okay.
natives. The native
New Yorkers. Yeah.
We're pretty upset when you guys were walking around calling it the Big Apple.
Yeah, they're like, who the fuck are these Zarks?
Zark's classic New York slang. That sounded like a real local.
The Lonely Island Seth Meyers Podcast.
So, Andy, you were in Foggy London Town. It's lovely to have you back.
Thank you.
Keeve, you want to mention what movie you worked on, or what do you think?
It's already been mentioned on the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, tell us how it went. The Naked Gun, you guys.
Yeah, it was Naked Gun.
Guess your Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah, guess it. And be right.
83.
All right.
Oh, look at you.
Sounds good. All right, I'll see it.
Certified fresh, but, nothing to really brag about.
Yeah, let's be honest. 83 for a comedy is like a 250 for a drama.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
That's the highest I would ever jinx us to.
So you just saw with Liam Neeson in Atlanta.
Yeah,
He's playing Frank Drebin
Junior.
Jr.
Liam Neeson, who also was on the show Atlanta. Coincidence?
Oh,
Wow.
Right. Yeah, he's a
Nice-
local
nice
hire.
pull.
Local hire at that point.
Oh, you got him as a local hire.
That's the only reason you got it.
Because of the Atlanta episode.
He has what's known as an Atlanta brogue. Is that correct?
That is right. Yes.
We're going down to Magic City.
You got him for the cost savings.
Oh, you're in foggy Atlanta town.
Yeah.
It does get a little foggy down there in Atlanta town.
Oh, yeah. With the weed smoke. Am I right, guys?
Brain fog, my dude.
Pamela Anderson also. I mean, I don't want to, this is for the junket a year from now. Our release date is July of next year.
Gotcha.
And I just started editing. But yeah, it went well. It was exciting.
That's great.
And it was lonely, guys. It was lonely.
It was long.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
This is the sort of enthusiasm, the white hot enthusiasm you tend to hear from Keeve after finishing a project.
Yeah, it's just like these shorts.
If you're wondering if he's a little too hot on how it went, he's always like this.
I think they've established that in this podcast.
Yeah,
Where
we
every episode you bring up one and say, but Akiva knew it was shitty, right? And I go, yep.
He called it right from jump.
Our friend just texted us being like, loving the podcast. It's just Seth dunking on you guys.
I don't think, do I dunk?
I don't know, but that was his impression of it.
I wouldn't have thought so, but I like that that's how it's being perceived.
Let me just stress something, because I believe that the podcast is allowing me to dunk on myself for how many times I was dead wrong with stuff.
I agree with that.
Andy wrote back, he's a square living in a comedy prison of his own design.
Yeah, that was to a group thread of like 12 of our friends from high school.
About you, Seth.
I like, by the way, that you literally jumped in to defend me. I'm like, yeah, no, I think you do dunk on yourself. And then Keeve reads the text about that.
You're like, wait a minute.
Well, it's a friendly rivalry.
Oh, Jiminy Glick showed up.
Yes.
Can we just say Jiminy Glick kind of stole the summer?
Oh my God. Song of the summer, Jiminy Glick.
The song of the summer, Jiminy Glick and Bill Hader.
No diggity, no doubt.
Just killer. I mean, everybody, give yourself a minute. If you're not a fan of Peyton Manning in the United Way digital short, go watch Jiminy Glick interview Bill Hader.
God damn it, had me
He
going.
really just did a week of every day there was a new fantastic thing.
And you realize it is a weird blind spot for a lot of people. Because in my mind, Jiminy Glick is a legendary character. And yet a lot of guys my age who I feel like comedy said, I've never seen that character before.
Oh, really?
That's shocking.
There's a really nice Glick hole you can fall down on YouTube because, I mean, Marty's been crushing that for almost a quarter century.
A Glick hole is a
I
great
hated
term.
that. I hated a Glick hole.
Feels so invasive, yeah.
Glick hole.
It's a Glick
I
hole.
hated that.
Sounds like we
all
should turn it
hated
into something
once.
Yeah.
A Glick
All
hole.
our faces just froze.
People say the monoculture is dead, but we all hated Glick hole.
What was your favorite moment in the Hader Glick interview?
There was a hard left turn.
There were so many hard left turns. I said to Hader, it was like watching a boxing match where you can't believe the referee hadn't called it. Because Bill was laughing really hard at one thing. Well, then he said, Willie Mays died.
That was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, to Bill, who of all people on earth is like the least the
Sports
person you would
fanatic.
bring that up to.
Yeah. And then the other one that killed me is he just all of a sudden started talking about Willie Nelson just so he could say more like First of the Mohicans.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, that was maybe my fave.
Look, we're not here to laud and applaud Martin Short, but he does deserve it. Hey, we're going to get to a digital short that I think we're all on the same page on, right?
Yeah.
United Way is a winner.
Oh, yeah, we love United Way.
Oh, there
shit,
it is.
Yorm came correct.
I didn't know if I should do that right now, but I wanted to test it out.
Yeah. You wanted to test it for the appropriate time?
Can I just,
Yeah, it works great.
hold it a little closer to the mic, though.
Okay, like that.
Yeah, that's better.
Oh,
That was louder. That was-
Hold
better.
it a little closer to the window and then drop it out. What were you going to say, Andy?
I was just saying closer. Seth was critiquing in real time his technique, which was terrible. We all saw that. Heard it, I should say.
Heard it.
But the
we can
second
hear it
time,
was
Yorm,
back.
with my direction, I'm not a
Yes.
director, not in the DJ, but I do sometimes, dabble.
You dabble.
When you held it closer, it was a lot better, and it felt a little more like a classic mixtape. So I think we got that sussed.
Okay, great.
Great.
More
We sussed it.
organic. More organic.
United Way made it to the Sweet 16, I believe, of the digital short brackets when we
Whoa.
voted on the best one ever.
Wow.
This is a big one.
Wait, have we explained the brackets before? Because it's been so long since we recorded.
We'll eventually get to the brackets,
Okay.
but we at one point the entire SNL cast and writing staff voted on the best digital short of all time, and it was right near the end of things.
Yeah.
Wow.
The end of
Sweet
days.
16, though, that's very good.
I would say the other Sweet 16ers we've had so far are Dick in a Box and Natalie Rapp and Lonely Island. I think are the only.
Lazy
Other-
Sunday.
Oh, right. Sorry. What did I say? What was the
Lonely
first
I
one?
Island.
said Lonely Island,
Lonely
the name
Island.
of our group.
They interchangeable to me.
I mean, technically, he's right. They all made it.
Tidbit, we talked about maybe naming our group Incredibad,
Really?
but then Keeve and Yorm, they liked Lonely Island more. I also liked it. I don't want to say I didn't like it,
Gotcha.
but it was between those two.
It was. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we ended up calling our first album Incredibad instead. Tidbit.
That's a big decision choosing the name The Lonely Island. Was it fraught when you guys?
That was for Tidbit, but it was a little late, I got to admit.
I'm going to do that every time you say tidbit, but 48 seconds after.
You said it. You know what? I'll stop. God, I've had some
Andy-
coffee.
Yeah, what's the
do
coffee
wanna ask,
situation here?
Andy
Oh,
is like, Andy's trying to
Seth,
get
I hate
something.
to interrupt you. I got job dregs.
Job dregs. What are you doing? Is it a French press? Why? How do you get the dregs in your?
It's drip.
He's picking out his tongue like
It's
he got a
classic
hair on
drip.
his tongue.
We use Go Get 'em beans. They're delicious. Shout out, Go Get 'em. I got so many dregs.
It's got to be a sponsor.
I should have
You
known.
reacted like you've never gotten a drag before.
It was an especially beefy drag.
Yeah. You had two fingers in the bottom of the coffee cup and you were tasting it like you were worried it was poison, although that would be the wrong approach.
I was trying to milk the job for as much as was in the cup, and I forgot about the dreaded dregs.
The dregs is the grounds that fell in.
Yeah.
Like you're
Clearly.
using like a paper filter in a drip coffee machine.
Yeah, bro. You got something to say?
You're unorthodox.
Yeah, I think I said it all just with the question and my tone.
Swear to God, this guy goes to Atlanta.
We're going to get to our good friend, Peyton Manning United Way. I want to talk real quickly about the Julie Louis-Dreyfus episode. There was a digital short called Roy Rules, which we'll eventually get to because it airs a couple weeks later.
Classic.
Scarlet
Sweet 16,
episode.
I bet. No, didn't make it into Sweet 16?
No, I don't think Roy Rules even made the final field of 64.
I don't think Roy Rules made it out of the first round.
Huh. That's weird.
There were 100 digital shorts, and I had to pick the top 64 for the brackets. And Roy Rules, I'm going to tell you right now, did not
Yeah,
make.
knowing Seth, it didn't make it to this.
No way.
Yeah.
No way. Roy the Man rules.
Yeah, he does rule. I just saw him.
Great. Give my love to Roy. Hey, a couple quick things about the Julie Louis-Dreyfus show. There was a sketch called Monex. Wig and Sublette wrote. Do you remember this? It was an ad for gold.
Vaguely.
No.
A lot of cable news will have ads for gold as an investment vehicle.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
of course, yeah.
And I only bring it up because it was a beautiful pre-tape and it was Wig just saying gold in a funny way.
Call Monex now for this informative brochure and VHS tape that will show how you can invest in gold. Did you know that in the past 12 years, the value of gold has gone up a little bit? I love touching gold.
You know what else? As we've established, I can't remember who established it. One of us keeps pressing real hard on the idea that this was an golden era. But we're starting to see first-time sketches become sort of like little backbones of the era. The first Vinny Vedecci was Julie Louis-Dreyfus.
That's a good show.
Vinny Vedecci, which Bill auditioned with.
Bill auditioned with.
It was the spine of his audition, right?
Yes.
He did Vinny Vedecci as a character, and then his impressions and other characters spun off of Vinny. Like he was hosting a show, and Vinny did all of those things on his show, right?
Yeah. It was an Italian guy who, and again, Bill does that really good thing.
Do a little of it, Seth.
So not like better than that
Yeah,
by
a little bit better.
tenfold. It is funny when you think to yourself, oh, it's easy to do fake Italian. And then you watch, and Bill really does good fake Italian.
Yes.
It's like Sid Caesar level good.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, he would do impressions of American people within the body of the impression. It took a long time to figure out how Vinny Vedecci would be a sketch. And I ended up working on it with them. I can't quite remember how we figured it out. But me and Matt Murray and Bill worked on Vinny. And it's a very fun sketch with Julie Dreyfus. It was always, the concept was that it was an actor who was on a Italian talk show who was shocked to find out that the entire thing would be conducted in Italian.
Giulia. Che siamo carapandolos son derapisi, comparo cambiso a pandos, ponparos rabiandeandos, comparos diandos, American televisione corabandos, pisi rabandes.
Oh, I am so sorry. I didn't know that this would be in Italian. I don't really speak.
Eh?
I don't speak Italian.
And there was a joyous cut to, which was Fred was the producer, and he was always sitting at a table with Forte eating pasta, and he and Bill would just scream at each other. But really the star of the show was the way that Will would just quietly eat pasta and never look up.
Yeah.
It was a very fun choice.
Committed.
A good comedic actor.
There was also two other things I want to mention from the Julia show before we move on. Judge Seidlin. Do you guys remember Judge Larry Seidlin? Not a character. It was a real dude who I think was in the Anna Nicole Smith Judge. And he sort of famously once cried on stand. And then Fred played him on Update as a judge who would get choked up talking about stuff. This one I watched, there was almost no reason to have Judge Larry Seidlin on, except for obviously we'd become enamored with Fred doing it. But he tells a story about getting fired at his first job at the zoo. And he gets really choked up talking about how the monkeys got out. And they weren't the regular kind of monkeys. They were the monkeys with the plastic asses.
It was so mean to me. You know these monkeys, the one with the plastic asses? The red ones? The red asses? You know what I'm talking about, Seth?
Yeah, I think so.
You know which monkeys they are, Raby?
Yes, yeah, I know.
They're mean as hell.
So
Another thing, every now and then something happened in my tenure on the show. I never don't think that about those monkeys.
Yeah. Hard to unhear it.
Then there was mostly because I saw it in the rundown, I had no memory. Jost wrote a sketch called Household Robot for Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Do you guys have any memory of the sketch Household Robot?
Mm-mm.
I had none. Basically, Julie Louis-Dreyfus and Sudeikis have won the lottery. And Wig and Bill are at their house for a dinner party. And they're talking about how they're not going to change. They're going to be the same as they always were. But then when Wig goes to clean up the plates on the thing, they go, oh, our robot will do that. And they're like, you bought a robot. And they said, well, yeah, we're going to allow ourselves one luxury. And then Forte comes in as a robot. And the first joke is how slow he is.
Extravagance. I mean, it's so practical. Watch this, watch.
Lowering robot torso. Extending robot arm. Initiating grasp mode.
It really keeps you informed.
Counting down to plate acquisition. T minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Plate acquisition successful.
Then Fred comes in as the repair robot. And then he fixes them. And then to reward Fred for fixing them, they just start fucking.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Wait, who starts fucking?
the two robots.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Fred's reward is that the two robots start having sex.
Gotcha.
Bill and Kristen don't want to see it.
How's that framed up?
So they're first,
I mean, it's late night, but you can't.
like Fred goes and like sits on a dresser
Oh, sexy.
and puts his legs up.
Yeah.
They're in like big boxy robot suits, it should be noted.
Yeah, of course.
That's how we pictured it.
But then Jason says, oh, well, we can make them go in the kitchen so you don't have to watch it.
Homebot, repair bot, go to kitchen.
Yeah. Oh, thank God. I thought they were actually going to have sex.
Oh, they will.
Initiating 45-minute robot intercourse.
I'm sorry, but do we have to sit here and listen to this?
Oh, just relax. You can just ignore them.
Does this make Jost's Criterion Collection, you think?
His top 64.
You know, it is that nice Joe's thing where there's a few different sketches and that you kind of like all of them and none of them go on too long.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sketch where the robot's slow. And then right when you're sort of over that, it's the robots.
Like, don't worry, we're changing it.
Yeah. It's like now the robots.
It's actually that they have sex.
Yeah, now there's a second robot. Now they're going to have sex. So anyway.
That sounds really good.
I will say of everything, it really made me laugh. And it's, give it a look. Peyton Manning showed up. First, I have a trivia question. I've done very little research, but I think there's 4 NFL quarterbacks have hosted SNL in the history of the show. Excuse me, 5.
I can definitely get this.
You can get all 5? I
No.
don't think you can.
No way.
Peyton Manning,
Yep.
Yep.
Eli Manning,
Yep.
Joe Montana,
Yep.
Tom Brady,
Yep.
and Travis Kelce. Just kidding. He's not a quarterback. Who's the 5th?
It's 70s. It's weird. You're not going to get it.
Is it like Dan Fouts or something?
It's Fran Tarkington.
Oh, yeah.
The
Okay.
Tark.
I appreciate you letting me off the hook instead of guessing like 50 quarterbacks from the modern era.
I could have gone for 5 minutes of that,
But
honestly.
I vividly remember Joe Montana because we're from the Bay and it was a huge deal when he hosted. And there was that awesome sketch where you hear his thoughts.
Oh, that's
That
really
was
good.
it, right? I
Yeah.
can remember one thing from that show, except that incredible sketch where he has one incredibly memorable line.
Yes, they won't bother me. I'll be masturbating.
I'm going to go upstairs and masturbate. And then his thought is, I'm going to go upstairs and masturbate. His internal thought is the exact same.
He's a simple guy.
But for clarity, it starts off where you're hearing a couple's thoughts as they're like getting ready to hook up. And then he comes in and you hear his thoughts and they're all really straightforward. There's no
Exactly what he's saying.
No subtext.
subtext. Yeah.
He co-hosted, I believe, correct?
With whom?
Jerry Rice.
Walter Payton?
Is that true?
Yeah, it was Walter Payton and Joe Montana.
All time. I can't believe I didn't remember that.
Yeah, Walter Payton was in that sketch with him.
Oh.
What the fuck?
Really crazy, right?
I mean, I was a big Walter Payton fan too. I mean,
So was I.
based solely on Techmo Bowl and his ability to destroy the competition.
I just liked him because he was a sports figure, and I all across the board, every one of them, all the sports.
You like all the sports guys.
all the sports, all the guys and girls.
Seth, be real. Would you rather be Walter Payton or Bo Jackson in Techmo Bowl? Be real.
Be
though.
real. Be real though.
Bo Jackson.
Yeah, same. Walter Payton was faster, but Bo Jackson, you couldn't tackle him. All right, let's move on.
Oh my God. Let's move on.
Can I tell a little tangent story since this whole episode has been a tangent and not talking about the short? We owned a Nintendo together when we were all living together. And then when I moved out, Andy and Keeve lived together off of Melrose, and we set up Excitebike. We were super jazzed on Excitebike, and we made a course in Excitebike, and we played it over and over again. It became this big competition between us and all of our friends. And we got super, super good at it, and you could do it in like 9 seconds or something like that. And then me and Keeve left for the weekend, and Andy was so mad because he wasn't in the lead that what I remember was leaving their apartment on like a Friday and coming back 2 days later, and Andy was still playing. It looked like he hadn't slept in 2 days. And he was like, I cracked it. And we were like, what? And he was like, it's down to 4 seconds. And he was flying off the screen in ways that I had never seen before. And he was like leaning into the, like all the way to left, like, and I just remember being like, this dude's crazy. Like, he cracked it, but like
At what cost?
at what cost? At what cost?
I do remember this vividly, and I will say it was like the moment at the end of the first Matrix where Neo can see the Matrix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh,
he
shit.
broke it.
I got the bike to go off the top of the screen somehow. It was like a double skip right before a jump. I couldn't do it again to save my life. But man, oh man, when it happened, Seth.
But you also had to keep the machine on because otherwise it would erase the track. So you had to keep it on.
Well, I had to keep it on to show you guys the score so that you knew I crushed you.
Premature haunt.
So you basically
Yeah.
you broke the record, and then you became sort of a feral man beast who guarded the door and the Nintendo.
And then once they saw it, I turned it off and collapsed.
Yeah.
Went to sleep for like 24 hours.
When Yorm said the record was 9 seconds, I did not expect you got it all the way down to 4. That would be a little bit like if Roger Bannister ran a 2-minute mile.
Yes, it was psychotic.
We had been whittling it down to 9 seconds for like a month.
It took us forever.
And we were like, we've reached the ceiling.
Yeah.
It can't go anymore.
Can't go
and then
anymore.
he truly cut it in half. It didn't make any sense.
I was proud of him, but I was also like real concerned.
Yeah, don't leave me alone for the weekend with a Nintendo, I guess. An original NES. I should note this is way, way after original NES had come out.
Right.
Yeah, it was a very retro thing we were doing.
Oh, it was very cool. Vintage.
We're not 80 years old.
It was a nostalgia trip.
I had a Smash Brothers joke on the show. Like we made a Smash Brothers joke in Closer Look or something. Just a reference, really. The joke was that I played Smash Brothers in college. Someone wrote, Seth Meyers was definitely not in college when Smash Brothers came out. I don't have to Google this. I just know by looking. And I was like,
that's really good.
Harsh toke.
very unkind.
There's so many reasons why you're like, oh, I'm so glad the internet exists.
Also, I only missed, then I looked it up. I only missed it by like 3 years. It
Yeah.
wasn't like,
That's a lifetime, though, when you're in college.
it wasn't like Call of Duty or something. Support comes from Liquid Death. What is Liquid Death, you might be asking? Well, it may look like a beer or some crazy energy drink, but it's not. Liquid Death is actually a healthy beverage brand that makes mountain spring water, low sugar flavored sparkling waters, low sugar iced teas, and electrolyte drink mix. You guys, I get together with my college buddies every year for our fantasy football draft. And I remember my friend Mike started drinking these giant cans, and I thought, oh boy, he's off the wagon. But it turned out he was on the water wagon, drinking these cool-ass cans of Liquid Death. And you might be wondering, but why would a healthy beverage ever be called Liquid Death? Because Liquid Death will brutally murder your thirst, and their infinitely recyclable cans are helping bring death to single-use plastic bottles. My new favorite Liquid Death, the Death Dust Electrolyte Drink Mix. Love how it tastes. Love how I feel super hydrated. And you guys, it's important for me to be hydrated because if you listen to the podcast, you know that I by far talk the most. And if it wasn't for Liquid Death, I would be dry-mouthed and then Yorma would have to take over the hosting and it would be a train wreck. You can get free shipping of Liquid Death's mountain water, flavored sparkling, and iced tea 8-packs with Amazon Prime, or grab a can or a case at your local 7-Eleven, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, or on Instacart. Go to liquiddeath.com/island to check out all their healthy, infinitely recyclable beverages and find your closest retailer. That's liquiddeath.com/island, liquiddeath.com/island. All right, guys, Peyton Manning, gold standard athlete host of all time.
Yeah, he was really good.
If not the best ever, top 3, right? I mean, there's been some good ones in recent years, but he was really...
The old Michael Jordan, right? The episode that was so classic.
Yeah.
With the Farley and everything.
That's true. It was a great episode, but he was amazing.
I would argue, though, Keeve, just that Jordan's episode was incredible because he was so iconic and the writing around him really worked. Peyton, I would argue, was driving comedy more.
Yes.
I think that's what Seth's getting at. I don't know that there was an athlete who generated comedy better than Peyton that's hosted.
Yeah, agreed. Which he did in this short.
Indeed.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One, I will say that, and I've said this before, but every SNL host is basically given a, sort of binder full of their sketches just to be able to go through over the course of a very short week where they have to learn a lot of things. Peyton definitely approached the whole week like a quarterback. If you went into his dressing room with notes. It was all like color coordinated. He had like the right pens, and it was just it. He seems so like loose and easy on stage and so charismatic, but an incredible amount of work went into it, which is not a surprise.
That seems right for comedy. That seems smart.
United Way idea basically came from him, Keeve. It's not, my memory is that he said he thought it'd be funny if he did something where he was mean to kids, because that was so contrary to who he was.
I remember you coming to me being like, what if we did one of those United Way things, but he's an asshole?
Yeah. I still to this day feel confident that Peyton planted the seed. I don't think he said, let's do United Way, but he certainly like gave us permission to go do this sketch that worked exactly as well as he thought it would.
Yeah,
So you're saying he, for the first time on SNL, flipped his image on its head.
You know what? Somebody had to do it. And, you know, ever since then,
People have been trying to copy that model.
Keeve, what do you remember about going out and shooting with Peyton?
I mean, it's the same park, I think, where Dick in a Box, where they're on the basketball. I think if you go over to the basketball hoop, you would be exactly where Andy and Timberlake were hanging from it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of repeats in our shorts.
I remember it being good weather after the winter. What was this one? March 24th. So that stands up.
Yeah.
It might not have been hot, but I just remember being so happy to be outdoors when the sun was out because we get so stuck in there.
There's nothing like the Big Apple when the sun's out. You know what I mean?
Oh my
Amen,
God.
brother. It's like the exact opposite of foggy London town. Thank you for saying exactly that.
Yes, thank you for saying
Get
that.
yourself a nice slice of pizza. Yeah.
We were celebrating the weather with big old slices of pizza. Is that my memory?
Yeah. Big old slice of pizza, hot dogs, bagels.
Can I just say something? One of the funniest things that Tracy Morgan says a lot is slicing a Coke. I'm a real New Yorker. Have you ever heard him say that?
No.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
So there you go.
I've had coffee. Keep going.
Please refer to it as Jav.
I also remember, do you remember this, Keeve, that Dennis Leary pulled up, like he was going somewhere, probably to go shoot his Rescue Me show, his fireman show. And I think he saw Peyton Manning and pulled his car up and just like got out and walked over to set because he was like, oh, that's Peyton Manning.
I do not remember that.
Yeah.
You'd think I would.
But it was an interesting thing, which is Dennis Leary had the stature to just full on walk onto an SNL set and just go over and shake hands with the host and talk to him.
Yeah.
How did you not remember that?
I don't know why I don't remember that.
You just were thinking about the weather, you know?
I was just staring at the
nice it
clouds.
was.
Head in the clouds. That's me. I'm trying to remember. I feel like we were on the field and there's the joke with the porta potties, as he calls them, portalets, because of where he's from.
Yep.
And I don't know whose idea it was, but I know it wasn't in the script. And then it became one of the favorite parts of the whole thing.
Right.
To make a kid go sit in it.
Suck. Let's go. Get back in here. Let's go. Except you. I can't even look at you. You know what? Go sit in the portal for 20 minutes. That's right. You stay in there.
Very embarrassing questions happen a few times in my run at SNL where I go up to a person who's the best in the world at a thing and say something along the lines of, could you throw a football and hit that kid in the back? And he said, yeah. Like, I can hit someone on the other side of the highway in the back. Yeah. He hit him in the back. It was so good because he hit that kid in the back. And again, it was a Nerf football. It didn't hit the kid, but the kid did a great fall.
Yeah.
Agreed. And that kid, Timothy Chalamet.
Was it Chalamet?
No
It was.
fucking
Yes.
It could be. We don't know it's not.
He did a lot of our early work.
Wait, I think there is a Lauren child in there somewhere, right?
Yes.
Probably is a Lauren
I'd
child.
have to go rewatch it. I feel like one of Lauren's kids is in there.
I think there was a new boom of athlete hosts because Lauren's boys were growing up and thought it was cool.
We do a lot of complaining on this podcast about how difficult things were, how bad we were at coming up with ideas or whatever. This one I remember feeling a little bit effortless.
It was effortless.
And that's really rare. Like, you had a great idea. We brainstormed a bunch of bits.
Yep.
We went down there and did them. He came up with new ones on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
It got better as we shot.
Yep.
And we only shot for a couple hours out in the sun.
It was super easy.
As I mentioned, beautiful day.
Beautiful.
Flow's really nice. And it was everything. It was, all jokes aside, like the subverting of a host image is a fun thing for people to watch. And to some degree, they probably think it's coming and they loved it. It was really fun.
This was first Peyton Manning hosting, right?
Yeah. I think he only hosted once.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I feel like this was definitely another one of the moments where it was like the fun discovery.
Yes.
Like after Peyton Manning hosted, he was in every commercial
Right.
because the world was like, oh shit, he's funny.
There's a joke in the monologue about how he's in a lot of commercials, but I agree that you thought he was at his zenith, but like, I think you're right. Like he became a comedy guy after this.
Yeah,
This had pep talk then as well?
exactly.
That's a real good episode.
The show's really good.
I did want to mention Keeve's description of how well it went. I have to point out, like, 2 crucial ingredients were missing. Me and Yorm.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's why it was so effortless.
And that's probably why it was such a nice experience.
Yeah. That's honestly all I thought was like, yeah, that makes sense.
So, Keeve, you're saying not having to answer to the 2 dudes you've known since junior high made it easier?
Yeah, we're like really irritating. It's just like a fucking vacation.
Wait a minute.
This.
What about my part?
That was not part of it.
No.
It was nice. Me and Seth. Seth, did we ever do just an Akiva Seth joint ever again?
Yes. Firelight.
Oh, yeah. Firelight. Yeah.
Was that another easy experience?
It was.
It kind of was.
Oh, fuck off. I mean,
and it was well regarded on the show. It doesn't stick around like this.
Yeah, great. Congrats.
Remember Yorm and Andy were like, hey, we'll come and help out. We know we didn't write this one, but we'd love to be part of the team. And then you told them we were shooting it on Randall's Island. They went all the way out there.
Gave him the fake address.
Oh, yeah, you could. You could come.
I would love to, but Randall is mad at me.
Oh, boy.
Can't go to his island.
Oh, my God. I can't believe you're coming up with Randall's Island comedy now that you live in L.A. and there's no audience for it.
Fuck you, Seth. Batch.
Is there anything else you to say about the shorts? I mean, it does sort of speak for itself.
Did anyone rewatch it?
I did.
I didn't rewatch it leading up.
I did.
I didn't because I felt less involved.
I have something to say. I thought the sound design was exceptional and made a big difference.
It's really good sound design.
Mm-hmm. And the editing, as always, Keeve, spectac.
Thank you so much.
Pretty sure I swung by and we talked it down, and it was already pretty much done when I saw it. We made a couple little titans.
I'm sure.
Andy loves tightening things.
A good use of a beep, a couple curse words at the end where a beep is just as good, if not better, than actually hearing him say.
Sometimes it's much better.
But yeah, it was a pure stroke. The whole thing was just like hot knife through butter.
Yeah.
And it played great.
It destroyed. And I was very happy to look through this run list because it was as delightful as I remember. I have a monologue memory. The monologue...
Seth's Corner, the Seth talks about something that... Oh, it's not... Okay,
wait.
Give me a different song, Yorm, but it's a little bit more reflective about a memory I had.
Okay. Seth's memories. This is the part of the show where Seth reflects. Go ahead, Seth.
So Jenna, the stage manager, was like, Peyton wants to talk to you backstage before the monologue. And Andy, be honest, did you ever go behind the doors to the monologue before you did the monologue?
No.
And I didn't want to either, right? Do you kind of think of that as a sacred place where only a host should stand?
No, it just never occurred to me that I could even look.
Right. That makes sense too.
Yeah.
But it was trippy when I finally hosted to be like, this was here the whole time.
Yeah. Isn't it also funny that we are working show business and I still kind of thought there would be a bigger space behind it, like a full house? It's like, oh, so it's just like a tiny wooden step.
This is dumpy.
I mean, the thing I was shocked by was all the nudie pics up on the wall.
Oh, so many.
Oh, man.
But of men and women,
Oh, yeah.
and men.
Something for all
But
sorts.
I got to call it. And so I went backstage and Peyton had a suggestion. He had a joke he wanted to add at the last minute about Tom Brady.
Ooh, spicy.
And he said, do you think I should do this? And I was like, oh, I don't know. It was just really like, I was like, I don't process ideas this fast.
Wait, what was it? And
Did he do it?
No, he didn't.
What was the joke? Tell us the joke.
It was a soft burn that would have been the 200th hottest burn at the Tom Brady roast.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it was, my memory of it seemed very quaint now. And it was a friendly soft burn, it should be noted. Archie Manning, Eli Manning, and his mom were all in the monologue, little cut twos. And then show takes off. There was a Bronx Beat, really funny Bronx Beat.
Great so far.
Was it the first Bronx Beat or had they done a bunch of Bronx Beats already?
This was the third Bronx Beat. My favorite moment of this Bronx Beat is Maya asks him, guess how many times my husband has flirted with me this week?
Sucks out of your relationship? The pizzazz.
That's right. Ask me how many times my husband's flirted with me. None times. None times.
Unless you count going to the bathroom with the door open.
Is Bronx Beat also in Maya or Amy said 1990 never?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, God, I say that. I still say it all the time.
I say that because of you, but I thought you made it up, Andy.
I'm pretty sure it's from Bronx Beat.
Oh, Jack move.
1990 never. And obviously we still say sweater weather all the time.
Sweater weather. Yeah. I mean, sweater weather, much like gold
Good.
and plastic asses.
Yeah. You say it all the time in the Big Apple and Foggy London.
Here's a
too.
pitch. It might be too late, but since we're like right up against our release date here and it's topical, it'd be cool to get Wig to go to the Olympics. And anytime someone was being given their gold medal, they could just have her right off camera on mic going, good. Sort of under their national anthem.
It is a little late, but you're right. It's not like technically too late. It just seems late. A lot of people say, 4 months isn't enough time for someone to mount a presidential campaign. And yeah, here we are, right?
Here we are. And if Yorm can do a predictive review of his MacGruber episode of this podcast, we can certainly get Wig out to the Olympics.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
She'll go. Paris.
I'm just using an algorithm.
NCAA pool. Classic Downey sketch. Do you remember NCAA pool?
No.
It was Peyton Manning and Amy Poehler were going through their NCAA pool picks, and Peyton was a sports expert, and Amy was someone who didn't know anything about sports and had picked the games correctly based on mascots and the like.
Oh, that's just a real thing that happens, right?
Yes.
In real life.
It has a very nice Downey move in it, which at one point then Sudeikis, who's the sort of sports anchor, is talking about University of Arizona losing in the first round, and he calls them a classic. It's a classic Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning's not playing Peyton Manning. And then they just start burning Peyton Manning. And he starts being very offended on behalf of Peyton Manning.
Yes, his character is.
Instead, once again, they turned out to be the tournament's Peyton Manning.
What do you mean?
Well, you know how every year Arizona comes in with impressive stats and all the hype, and every year they fizzle out.
Yeah, sure, but why is that a Peyton Manning?
You know that expression.
No.
It's like, how do I put this? When someone has this great reputation, but you always wonder why, because when it really counts, they can't deliver.
Exactly.
First Penelope. The first Penelope is in this show.
Oh, we will.
Wow, she got a caterer.
They really went all out. Never seen this many hors d'oeuvres.
I have. Yeah, I've seen more hors d'oeuvres than this. So just really been to a lot of big parties before. So just I've seen all these before.
Oh, maybe you could help us out. I don't even know what half these things are.
I do. I know all of them. So I've had all these before at other parties that I've been invited to. So just been to a lot of parties. So that one has crab in it. So.
And it should be noted, this is a real credit to Peyton Manning. He is the funny one in a bunch of these sketches, and he also is a perfect service in a bunch of these sketches. Gets to straight man it up in Bronx Beat and Penelope, and he's great. And before we move on from housewarming, that was a wonderful sketch with Kristen Wiig and John Lutz, and we actually have a voice note from that writer, John Lutz.
Hi, Lonely Islands. This is John Lutz. I was a writer on SNL for 7 seasons and was there during the same time that the Lonely Island was. And I was there for the Peyton Manning episode, which actually was one of the busiest episodes of my career at SNL. I had 3 sketches in that night. The first sketch was a Penelope sketch, and it was the first time we'd ever tried Kristen Wiig's character, Penelope. It's the character that always one-ups what other people are saying. So if somebody said, I have a dollar bill, she'd say, I was on the dollar bill. That's my I. So that was the first time we'd ever done that character with Peyton Manning. And it's always a little tense when you're trying out a character for the first time under the bleachers with Lorne. But luckily, it did very well that night. And we did around 8 or 9 or 10 more of them throughout the course of my time at SNL.
I also want to say that I feel like it probably went well under the bleachers because Lorne, Andy, you've always made this observation. Lorne is a real Penelope, right?
I can't stop saying it.
He always is one-upping you. In fact, just for our listeners, Andy, you be Lorne and I'll be someone.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to go to Paris for the weekend.
Oh, I actually created Paris, so I was there when it started because I created it and I made it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm excited because I'm going to go to the Olympics.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm on the board of the Olympics and I decide who wins. It's corrupt and I decided that, so.
Really good.
Yeah, it's really accurate.
Really good.
So he likes the character.
Do you think for the 50th, the whole 50th should just be classic SNL sketches, but everybody does it as Lorne?
Yes. It would be fucking fun to watch.
I love that.
I want to take a quick detour to update. There's 2 notable things happening in update. One, there was a Tim Calhoun. Tim Calhoun was Forte's slow-talking politician character.
Was that the first Tim Calhoun?
No, I think it was maybe the last Tim Calhoun.
He auditioned with Tim Calhoun as well.
Yes. It's a great Forte, slick
and it
back
sounds
end.
a little something like this. Go, Keith.
Hello, I'm Tim Calhoun.
Really
Was
good.
that close?
Really good.
Yeah,
really close
good.
to a microphone.
I got a job in a court.
I didn't say Yorm.
Food
I said
court.
Keith.
All right.
Yorm has a writing credit on it, which disqualifies him.
I'm going to give you a setup. Tim Calhoun was mostly one-liners. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yes.
He mentioned a political name. I'm going to say that political name from 2007, and I'm going to ask everybody here to guess what the punchline was.
Okay.
Jack Abramoff.
It's something with
something about
jacking off.
jacking off.
What is it?
But I hardly know Abram.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that puts the Forte in the one-liner.
Now, we got a bit on late night called You Burnt, and I'm not here to talk about You Burnt, but I will tell you, You Burnt always begins with a picture of a migrating tree frog, and then it is interrupted by a siren that lets people know it's You Burnt. This was stolen from my time at SNL, where a migrating tree frog in the key was the signal to anybody who cared to figure it out that it was about to be interrupted. And I believe I also took that from Amy and Jimmy's update. Like, I think migrating tree frog might have been like sort of in the key before, for example, Gay Hitler came out.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Andy, you interrupted update during a migrating tree frog in the Peyton Manning show. Do you know who as?
A naked guy?
Sanjaya.
Oh, Sanjaya. Yeah, that was a moment.
Sanjaya was a very enthusiastic, not great contestant on American Idol. Is that, am I describing him well?
Yeah. Thank you.
I think so. I think he was just, everyone loved him. Was that it?
Everyone loved him. There's a moment that, having worked on the show, you know exactly what happened, which is it cuts to, while you're singing, Wig and Braces crying, and you think to yourself, oh, that must have actually happened. Then it pans to Fred and Braces crying, which, you know, I guess technically is a heighten. And then it pans to Dan Aykroyd crying. And that's when you realize, oh, Dan Aykroyd was there. And Lawrence said he wanted to be in something. But the best part, and it really is a credit to your performance, Andy.
Ooh, I'm listening.
Because it's in line with what I remember about Sanjaya. You're performing, and I think I go, is he really sad or really happy? That's very much... It is one of those things where until I say it, you don't think about it. But then it's that picture of, is it a really old woman or a really young woman?
Smile without the eyes is what I'm guessing there
was a little bit of smile
face.
without the eyes. And a little, maybe you were a little scared.
A little scared, yeah.
That is my favorite. That's my favorite Andy look of all time.
What have we gotten into here?
Yeah, you do a lot of smile without the eyes.
Oh, yeah.
You do.
We did a whole sketch called He Likes You. It was all smile without the eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
I remember He Likes You.
Yeah.
And then you guys, Halftime.
Oh, yeah.
Which is written with Will Forte and John Lutz. And it's one of the all-time great sketches. And before we talk about it, here is a voice note from our friend, John Lutz.
The third sketch I got on the Peyton Manning episode was probably one of my favorite sketches I've ever worked on. And it's the one people still talk about to me when they hear that I've written it. They love it. It's the one where he's a dancing coach with Will Forte. And he's trying to rally the basketball team. And he plays this piece of music, which was a piece of music that I had. It was a Herb Albert song that I brought to Forte. And I said, I want to do something with this. And he said, I've been looking to write a sketch where a coach tries to motivate people in a weird way. And it all kind of fell into place where it was just so much fun to write. Also, watching Forte dance in it was amazing because he performed it the best he'd ever done on the live show. And that doesn't always happen, but on the live show, he just knocked it out of the park. And I probably saw him dance it in rehearsals, in his office, in his dressing room, probably 30 times. He just kept doing it over and over and over and over and over just so that he could nail it, and he did.
All right. I know we're here to toot our own horns. No, Yorm? Okay.
Oh, wait. Wait, no, hold on.
Let's wait for it.
One time the word horn was said.
What? What'd you say?
Oh my God, his phone's locked.
It was ready to go at the end of Seth's memories.
He's really fumbling with it.
Wait.
It's still happening. Jesus.
Yeah, got it. Still got it.
Then we're not here to toot our own horns, but I'm going to say maybe the most memorable for me sketch of the night is the halftime sketch. Also, real who's who of the men in the cast at the time. It's a halftime at a basketball game. Everybody loads in. Forte's the coach. And it's gone badly. The first half has gone badly. Peyton Manning gets the first big laugh when he says, basically, I just thought about going back out there and facing those guys in the second half, and a little bit of pee came out. And people are real happy to hear him say it.
And remember, this was at a time when that had only been said like 50,000 times.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of pee, little bit of throw up.
Taking him back.
Yeah. No, I just threw up in my mouth. None of that.
Yeah,
This is before that.
That's all before that.
Yeah.
Basically, Forte is the coach. plays a song that he claims John Wooden played for him in his high school days when they had the biggest comeback in history.
It's by the Tijuana Brass, right?
It's the Tijuana Brass. No lyrics. And it's just music, and it's just Forte doing a really funny, half choreographed, half improvised dance. The background basketball players, I feel like, Andy, you might do the best keeping a straight face.
Thank you.
Both Peyton Manning and Kenan Thompson put towels in front of their faces. Bill has a hand in front of his face most of the time. And then a sort of classically stoic Fred and a classically stoic Jason have small moments where I feel as though Will has amped it up past where they were prepared for him to go.
Did Andy ever break? Not that I didn't watch it again.
I will say
research.
I wasn't watching it on the highest res. What do you think, Andy? What are you going to give yourself?
I think by the end, I actually did. It was really fucking funny.
It's really funny.
And I don't find Will funny in general. So it was like, that's saying a lot.
No, he doesn't in general. As a rule, Andy doesn't find Will.
I will say the sort of subtext funniest part of the sketch is anytime Fred played an athlete to just fill out a sketch is one of the funniest things. Like, Fred in a basketball uniform is super funny to me. And I think Fred would admit that too.
It's like Halloween.
Yeah, especially if you cross it up with like a High School Musical situation.
Yeah, it's real good. And then it should be noted, so Will does this dance that you sort of think only Will could do. It seems very unique to him. And then fucking Peyton Manning gets up and does it great.
I'm feeling it.
He says, I'm feeling it. And it's also at no point during the course of this show, in the way that he'd been funny, did you think he would also be physically funny or have moves at all, like dance moves? And he's great. And it is one of those everybody cheers sketches.
I feel like everyone's got to go watch this because it's like describing it is like you really don't get why it's so funny, but it is such a physical, like they are.
I know,
great.
I think it's funny. I think the way I'm doing it is very funny.
I think the way Seth described it is incredibly funny.
Okay.
It's very funny.
I'm wrong.
And I also don't think people need to watch it.
And in fact, I'm wondering why you haven't been laughing more because this is very funny.
All right, fine. Don't watch it.
Because it's going to pale in
If
comparison.
anything, you're going to be massively disappointed.
Don't watch it.
It's like, just read the book. Don't watch the movie.
I used to love reading SNL.
The novelization of SNL.
Such a good episode to
Stay
read.
up late, read it. There was another sketch later in the show. We're going to stay with the Lutz theme because it was on the porch. Do you remember On the Porch?
Oh, yes.
I can visualize it, but I don't remember what the joke was.
I feel like it's a slow burn one where people say crazier and crazier things as it goes.
It is basically, again, it's one of those really nice in-ones. By in-one, I mean there's no cuts in the sketch. It's just the two of them sitting on a porch saying crazy things and taking sips of coffee after each crazy thing.
Right.
You know, I ran into Judy today.
Really?
She was wearing invisible braces.
I hadn't heard that.
Well, I say good for her. This coffee is so rich and dark.
It's Mexican. Oh, I saw Rick at the park today.
Oh, really?
Yes, he said he was jogging, but when I saw him, he was sitting on a bench.
Well, he did just have a heart attack.
He was stretching and wearing very short shorts. I think I saw his butthole.
Well, that's Rick for you. You know what I'm going to use to fertilize my garden?
Your own poop?
Once again, he mentioned he wrote 3. Let's hear John Lutz's take on the porch.
The second sketch I got on the Peyton Manning episode was one with Kristen Wiig and Peyton Manning again. But they were on a porch sipping either, I think it was hot cocoa or could have been a hot cider because I think they used a cinnamon stick for a stir. And basically they would take sips, long pauses, and then say something really outlandish. And things just got crazier and crazier, and the pauses got longer and longer. And it was just a really fun sketch to write because we wrote it in Kristen's office. And late at night, we were just laughing at the stupid things we would say after we'd take a sip of coffee.
It's literally what we just said. That was the driest voice note. Like, not a single interesting thing in that.
Well, the first one was good, really good, John. And the second one, it was a little dry. I just could have used those
Now,
some
guys,
examples.
you know you're putting me in the jackpot here with John because I said, record these voice notes, 30 to 90 seconds. I thought that was pretty good.
I mean, that was
And then
short.
he said, how are these? And I thought, you know what? I'll just listen with the guys. So I didn't know how bad they were.
God damn.
Oh my God.
That first one was great.
I honestly thought at some point he was going to be like, and this was for the show Saturday Night Live, which aired on NBC. I'm like, oh
He's
my
doing
God.
he did us a favor.
John, you did great. Don't listen to Andy if you listen to this.
I like it.
And we wrote it in Wig's office late at night. There's no description other than that first sketch they wrote.
But they were laughing as they wrote it. Was that helpful?
Yeah, he had a fond memory.
For me, I could picture Wig really enjoying doing that.
When he said me and Wig were laughing, I've never seen Andy look angrier.
Oh, God. Like, I should fucking hope so. Otherwise, why put it to the table?
John, thank you so much.
All right, wait. I just looked on my phone and there's one more Lutz message and we're going to wrap it up. So let's listen to what Lutz has to say.
So I guess what I'm saying is, I had 3 sketches in the Peyton Manning episode. And I could also see the flip side of it of how hard it must have been for the Lonely Island to come up with one idea and then do one sketch. And also, the genius of it, like I don't even know how they came up with the idea of Peyton Manning throwing a football. That to me is like, how? It's the genius of the Lonely Island, and it's the hard work that they do that you really always hear about from them.
That's what I was looking for. That was the thing that was necessary.
Well, I do think throwing football was a little bit funnier than it gives it credit for.
Yeah.
It was your idea, Seth.
Yeah, kind of. I feel like.
So he's kind of burning you.
Now I'm regretting saying, and then do a 4th message where you burn them.
Yeah, because it was actually a veiled Seth burn.
The other funny part is somehow being called the Lonely Island is somehow funny to me. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that's what we are.
Yeah, people did not call us that at the show.
Island.
It would be really funny. Yeah, never once is like, has anybody seen The Lonely Island?
Never. I think they did say that about like Good Neighbor though. When people were like, where are the Good Neighbor guys? Right? Or no?
Maybe people have said guys. If you say guys, it softens it.
We have a big episode coming up.
What is it?
Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, that's a good one.
Dear Sister is the episode we're going to talk about. And look at us. We got back together. We got the gang back together.
You guys, we're almost caught up.
Naked Gun in theaters July 25th, 2025, or maybe the 18th.
Whoa.
Go see it. Best thing I've ever made. I'm so proud of this thing. See you guys in Paris at the Olympics.
And I just want to say,
on Peacock.
Oh boy.
When the lads didn't bring it home, it hurt.
Oh, you went to one
bad.
of the...
I was in foggy London town, and the lads almost brought it home.
You're talking about the Euro Cup
the
now?
Euros, yeah. I was there for the Euros. I also was at Wimbledon. That was fun.
Were you at a pub?
I was at a pub when the lads didn't bring it home. Oh, the lads.
I was having some lemon pepper wet at the Magic City, and we were watching the lads and really feeling that as well.
Oh, man, in the pub that I was in foggy London town, they were all like, another round of lemon pepper wet.
That's exactly right. We were having some fish and chips at Magic City.
All right, I love you guys. I'll see you next week.
Love you. Bye.